Hello and welcome to Jollof Biryani. We are back with another banger of an episode. So, Emmanuel, what are we going to talk about today?
Like you said, it's a banger. I think our topic is going to be focused on what you need to get promoted. Like, what are the key, things that you need to do? And I think our focus is probably calling out the fact that it's not just technical skills that you need,
Yeah.
but there are the soft skills that you need to actually grow and then rise within the ranks within a big four public accounting firm. Um, I think I'll start with you today.
All right.
And my question is going to be more: what are the key things that you think would help someone just starting up, or that you
Yeah.
think they need to know to help them grow within the ranks? And
Right.
please give us experiences, because I know you've had some amazing real life experiences that anyone can relate to.
Yeah. So, I think the point which you pointed out was technical skills will get you only to a specific point in
Yeah,
your career within the audit firm or within the accounting firm.
yeah,
You need to make sure from the day you step in,
yeah,
yes, you need to start building those technical skills for sure, because especially if you are a newbie or you've just joined at a junior position, you want to know those accounting terms, you want to know how to audit, or if you're in tax or whatever you're doing, basically, you need to know the basics, right? That is like the bread and butter, if you might say.
yeah.
But apart from that, visibility is the
Mm,
biggest thing. And what I mean by visibility is people should know you exist. Now, I know it sounds funny, yeah, you
yeah,
exist, like you're there in physical form, but the point is, a lot of time what happens is because of there being so many people at the same level, what makes you stand out is if people know who you are, especially the team you're working with, your managers and partners, those people will surely know who you are. Managers for sure, but if it's a bigger firm, the partners might not even know your name, and sometimes it comes out as a surprise to people. So if you get a chance, go around the office, say hi to your partners, introduce yourself. I'm not saying like go to every room and knock on their doors, but if you see them, greet them, tell them, hey, by the way, I'm working on that file of yours, and just start a conversation. And even with people you're not working with, I think it's very important to start building relationships from day one. And especially the initial conversations you will have, those stick in people's minds. And when there are 20 other people at the same level, it's like, oh, by the way, like, I know this guy. Like, he came up to me and he spoke to me when he had joined. So, yeah, I know him. So, that on top of the work you're doing kind of brings you to a very good spot.
yeah.
Personal experience as well. I would introduce myself to partners and stuff, and pretty much everybody knew me. But you have to perform because if everybody knows you, then if you do something wrong, everybody knows you did something wrong as
Yeah,
well.
it's more added responsibility, because they know
Exactly.
you now. They want to see a reflection of what they think you are in the work that you do, right?
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
think one thing you mentioned, which stuck with me, is more technical expertise would actually get you through the door.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it might actually keep you on that level, but it does not necessarily take you through the ranks. And when you mentioned that, it kind of reminded me of an experience that I had when I actually my first year as the external auditor, because I have experience with
Yeah.
consulting before I then switched to external audit. And I can remember that there was this individual that I used to work with that he moved from one of the big four firms to where I was working, and you could see that this guy was very sound, with all the standards. It was when we had like one of those brainstorming sections, you would
Yeah.
say quoting standards, because you would know that he had spent time to actually review and get that done. But all those additional soft skills, one of which you mentioned was being visible. I think
Yeah.
it was one of the things that he did not, he couldn't demonstrate when he was in the previous man.
Hmm.
Because of that, he couldn't cut it. He was relying solely on just one skill that he had, and he couldn't balance it on the other soft skills that he required to actually move to the ranks. And as a result, he was struggling, and then he had to move firms. But it kind of stuck with me because yes, you have the technical skills. If you
Yeah.
cannot effectively communicate that, which is probably one other thing, you need communication skills. You can effectively communicate what you know to
Yeah.
people. Um, it's not efficient. Doesn't actually make you stand out as a balanced elevator.
Yeah, I totally get you on that. I was once told that if you're an expert in a field, you
Yeah.
should be able to explain what you do in less than one sentence.
Yeah. I mean, not like if you ask me now what I do, I'll be able to explain it in 1 second, in one sentence, but that makes sense because I think it also goes back to one of the things that you probably have heard as well, which is is it the 30-second rule, the elevator pitch?
Okay, I'm not sure about it. I've probably heard about it, but yeah,
Yeah.
please share it with
Which
us.
is that whatever you're doing or whatever your career is, if you get into an elevator with someone that is let's say the richest man in the world, Elon Musk, for instance, you should be able to communicate to him within the time you spend in the elevator, which is why they call it an elevator pitch, because you're
All right.
spending probably 30 seconds. You should be able to say, hi, my name is, whatever it is, this is what I do. Pitch something to him that would make him see the value that you bring to
Yeah.
whatever you do. Who knows? Could be a lucky day.
Yeah.
Or your partner in this instance, but yes.
Yes, and that is so good because I think it takes us to the next point, and because you threw that in, I'll let you continue with it. You mentioned about being able to explain yourself and communicate in less than 30 seconds. Now, we're not asking everybody to do that.
No.
Uh, of course, it's going to be tricky to do that in every case. But the point which I got out of that was being able to explain what you do or being able to communicate that. So, what do you think, or what is the role of communication itself as you progress up the ladder? How important it makes it for you to not only communicate through your work, but communicate in your meetings or communicate your presence
Yeah.
being felt in whatever environment you are or whatever situation you are to help you get through to that next level. And I think it works for people who are a bit higher up the rank, probably not necessarily at the staff level, but please do
Yeah,
share.
I think that's a loaded question. And
Yeah,
I'll
you can
tell
break
you,
it down.
yeah, I'll tell you why I think it's a loaded question because I think one thing you did ask was, how can you use communication skills to rise or effectively represent or present yourself?
Yeah.
And I think when you were asking a question, can I remember me of the time we used to work together when I can't remember the client. I can't actually mention the client anyways, but we were done with the audit. We were
Yeah.
just wrapping up the file, and then we had a board of directors meeting.
Yeah.
And we did, it was something that wasn't scheduled for because we thought we were just going to sign off and then move on. But, audit committee, and then you had to, within 20 minutes, draft up the presentation draft, put on the shirt, and then you have to jump into the audit committee
Yeah.
meeting. I think I would say it was an eye opener for me on how, if you actually, before that day, couldn't effectively communicate based on the work, and communications in this instance is drafting the presentation and
Yeah.
effectively delivering that to the audit committee and actually just explaining to them what the key issues were that we've noticed, what the key exceptions were, and then our opinion was,
Yeah.
But it was something that because I think it was easier for you because the more you were with the audit team from day one to day 20
Yeah.
or whatever the end of field work was, and then it was easier for you because you knew all the information, so you drafted that and then got it done. Well, my key takeaway was you were not faced because you had practice over the years, right? And it was easier for you to take what you had heard and then just put it into effect. And I'm pretty sure I cannot remember effectively or vividly what the client said, but I think after the audit, the client actually said, "Yeah, it was a great presentation." And one of the partners was there. I don't know if that got you additional bonus because she didn't tell me that, but well, that's a good demonstration of effectively using communication skills to be visible, just to put two and two together. One question, and one of the layered questions that you did ask was, how does that help across the levels?
Yeah.
I think, and you probably did touch on it a bit at the staff level. To be honest with you, technical skills is probably more what you need because at that point you're building a foundation.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I would say yes, I totally agree with you on that. But as you progress from staff to maybe a semi-senior, because then you start having additional responsibility.
Exactly.
At that point, you will probably start handling smaller audits on your own.
Yeah.
Probably start leading a team of one or two. if you cannot come, and I can assure you, based on the experience that I have, you will be thrown into the deep end once you start as a semi-senior and then become a senior, and then once they can see that you can effectively demonstrate effective communication as a senior, then they would be more confident to actually give you more responsibilities, which then flows to maybe an assistant manager, because
Yep.
you depend on the firm that you are in, or a manager. But before you can be a manager, I can confidently tell you that you must be able to communicate, because I can assure you that 80% of your day is going to be, and I know you used to complain about that a lot, when you would go, first thing in the morning, you would go into your calendar, and then probably from 9 to 4:30, you're having meetings. And then, because we don't want to stress you, we don't book meetings from 4:30 to 5. But, that's what it means. You're going to be talking, you're going to be in meetings.
Yeah.
And, it's everything you say in a corporate world is used to assess you.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, there is a place of social and social events where it's less, it's more relaxed.
Yeah.
But majority of the time, whenever you're in a social gathering or in a corporate gathering, you're being assessed on what you say. And in I would say it's more important in the Western world like Canada, where people judge you based on what you say, not what you look like. Not It's based on what you say, how you present facts, how you effectively communicate that fact. Because most of the time, people don't have the time to actually go and review the details. They're taking you for the word that you've said, probably getting a summarized document, and then just using that to make a decision.
Fair enough. Yeah.
All right. I don't know if you had anything you wanted to add to that.
Yeah.
Based on
I actually wanted to, but the communication skill I'm going to talk about is probably different from what you mentioned.
Perfect.
That is very important.
Yeah.
But one thing which I learned over my career is you are responsible for your career, so communicate. What I mean over there is from the time you're a staff member and you start working with a mentor or whoever it is, every time you're doing a project, ask for feedback, communicate, and ask, hey, am I doing this right? Did I miss out on something? What would you like me to do better next time? Get those feedback, let them know what's going on. And that kind of communication is a lot of time missed out, and that is at every level. Like whoever you're working with should know what you're aiming for, and they should be able to give you the feedback, and you should constantly ask for it, so that communication should not break down. Most of the time what happens, people don't communicate, and then at the end when they get the feedback, either they don't like the feedback or they disagree with it, or what happens is they don't get the promotion or they don't get the increment they were looking for, and it all goes back to communication because nobody communicated. Now, I'm not blaming specifically the people who are the ones who are looking for the promotion or the feedback. I think it's an equal responsibility of the managers and the partners who are working with it, with them. But you are responsible for your own career. So it is important to have that communication in place, set your expectations right, make sure you're performing up to that. And that's about it. And that's where you know where you stand. Like I would rather know where I am like 2-3 months in rather than being told like 6-7 months or 8 months in, like, hey, you just didn't make it and it's already too close, or maybe on the last day.
It's
hey, by the way, you remember that audit we did 9 months back? Yeah. Oh, you messed up this thing, but I never told you about it because you never asked. So things move really fast at times. You jump from one project to another, you kind of forget to take feedback and you presume everything was good because nothing came back to you. Always ask, always communicate.
I think it's very important. I'm laughing because I can remember scenarios where feedback provided either during the appraisal, and it's like, I mean, we could have had this conversation like 9 months ago, but you bringing it up now, it's not fair. So to your point, I think it's very important that have those conversations, effectively communicate that, to like always ask for feedback. And if you're in a situation, if you're in a position where you're giving feedback, people don't wait till when it's towards the end of the year to actually provide such feedback, because at the end of the day, the essence of providing feedback is for continuous improvement. So I don't think waiting 9 months to give that, or waiting for 9 months to ask for something like that when you should be improving every day, is fair to the parties that are involved. I know I think we've discussed a lot.
Yeah, there's just one last one
Yes,
which I wanted to
please
throw in,
throw it in, my friend.
and that is workplace events and how that plays a role in showing up.
What's that?
So when you have like a workplace get together or a
Oh,
Christmas party or stuff,
yeah.
how important do you think is it to show up over there and introduce yourself and make sure you connect with people?
Yeah, I would be very funny. So I'm saying, so it depends on what you ask. But
Yeah,
I, you know, in all sincerity, I think it is very important. It's very important. Like you should show up as much as you can, because that's where you have the opportunity to actually, I would say, network with people outside office. It's the
yeah,
same people, and I can assure you that when they see because it also because it makes it easier to work. When they know
yeah,
you, it makes it easier to work with you. And as much as you get to work together for long hours with the people that you work with, but if it's in a formal setting, there is so much you would know.
yeah,
But when you guys come out, you attend work events. Gagan is asking that question, just FYI, because he's always in charge of X and work events. So just putting that out there. But when you do go for this kind of events, it gives you the opportunity to meet your partners or even people that you work with, um, and then actually socialize with them outside work. It actually helps with bonding as well. I can remember when we used to have Friday events,
yeah. In
eat
the office,
in
yeah,
the office. Regardless of the fact that we used to work long hours, those events actually help bring the team together. So
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's very important. I want to see what's your take on that?
I totally agree with you, but I have a very, very important point which people miss out on.
Yeah.
Just coming to those events and not connecting during work hours will not get you the brownie points you think you'll get.
Oh, no, no, no. It's both
So it
ways.
is building on top of a base you've already built.
Yeah.
So being present during the day when you're working
Yeah.
and connecting with people at that time. And then when you show up at events, it works because people already know you, and then you're talking about things outside of work, and like it builds a stronger bond.
Yeah.
But if you think you're going to catch up and you ignore everybody throughout the week and you're just, saying that, no, I don't want to talk to this person, I'm just going to be on my own, and then just show up to an event and be like, hey, everybody is going to be discussing with you and stuff. Yeah, they might say hi and stuff, but they don't know you at all. Technically, they don't know you. And
Yeah.
if you're working mostly from home, then wow,
Good for
good
you.
luck. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the only other last thing I would, as you were talking, I think, yeah, at the beginning of the podcast, you did say something about not just restricting your network within your firm to people that you work with, also network people outside your
Yeah.
firm. Events like that would be a good opportunity to meet people outside your unit that you would not necessarily work with on a day-to-day basis,
Yeah.
and then you can actually form connections as well.
Yeah. That's an excellent point.
Yeah.
And I think with that, we are good to wrap up the video.
Yes. Really nice. Hopefully, we don't take as much time as we took this time around to come back with more interesting topics to speak.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So please leave your comments, subscribe, like, share, and let us know if there are certain topics you would like us to cover. And if there are certain guests who would want to be a part of our show, please give it a shout.
Yeah. What is said?